Hi, this is TJ with Piano Clubhouse. Today I'm going to show you Never Give Up by Yolanda Adams. The song is, it's in the key of, it actually kind of jumps back and forth between the keys of G flat and A natural. And then we modulate up to a different key towards the end of the song, and then the bridge is actually in several different keys itself. But we'll get to that in a minute. But as I mentioned, the song actually begins back and forth between G flat and A flat. The introduction beginning in A. So let's get started. Right hand is going to be on A, D flat, and B, or C sharp and B. We're in the key of A, so I'll use sharps. A, C sharp, and B. Left hand is going to play A and E. That's your first chord. Let me just run you through what the left hand is going to do first, kind of get your foundation set, and then we'll add the right hand chord. So first is left hand, A and B, A and E, excuse me. Next, the next chord, the left hand is going to go from here. Both fingers are going to come in towards the middle to a B and a D. And don't worry about the right hand. I'll give you the chords for this in a minute. I'm just going to play through the melody so you can kind of see where the left hand is, at. Okay, so again, A and E, B and D. Next, these two notes are going to go to the right, one note of the scale. So we're going to go to C sharp and E next. Okay. Now to C sharp and E. Next, the left hand's gonna stay on. Come down and play an octave C sharps. Okay, so we were right here, and then play the C sharp with your thumb, and play octaves now. C sharp from the beginning. C sharp and E. Now octave C sharps. Now the left hand is going to go to F sharp and walk down the scale. Okay, so we start from F sharp, walk down to F sharp, then E, then D, then C sharp, then B, and then the last walk is B, C, C sharp, go up by half steps, B, C, C sharp, and then we end on G flat. Okay? At the moment we hit this G flat, we're changing keys to the key of G flat. Okay? So, back to A, one more time, the left hand by itself, and then we'll keep moving on. First chord, here we go. Move in. Both move to the right. Octave C sharps. Now to G flat and walk down. C sharp and walk down. And then G flat. Okay? You should be able to play, before we even add the right hand, learn the left hand, be able to do just that part of the song with just the left hand by itself. Be comfortable with your left hand working independently, learning the song by itself with just the left hand, okay? So let's add the right hand now. First chord, when the left hand is on here, right hand is on B, C sharp and A. Then you're gonna kind of help with that melody here. G sharp A. Then after you hit the G sharp A, you're going to hit B and E together. Let's go back to the beginning again. B and E. Then repeat that. Okay, so that you do that twice. Let me show you what is going with the left hand. First chord, B and E. Then repeat it while the left hand moves up. Okay. Now this is where the left hand goes to the octave, right hand, B, C sharp, and then play this chord right here. F, G sharp, B, and D. Then the left hand goes down to G flat. This is where the left hand is going to start the walk down the scale. The right hand can come down to here. The chord is just an A major chord inverted at one time. C sharp, E, and A. When the left hand goes to E, the right hand shifts down to an E natural chord. This E stayed from this first chord. The E stayed here. These two outside fingers move to the left one note of the scale. To B, still on E, and G sharp. When the left hand goes to D, right hand goes to a D major chord. A, D, F sharp. When the left hand goes to C sharp, right hand goes to an A major chord. A, C sharp, E. You can add that B if you like. And then when the left hand goes to B, right hand goes to this D major chord, A, D, F sharp. You can add the C sharp if you like. Then, at the same time, both hands are going to do the same little run here. B, C. So you do the B and the C together, and when the left hand hits this D flat, right hand's going to play this G flat suspended chord. G, B, D flat, and G. Okay? One more time with just those basic chords. Left hand's here on A and E, right hand's starting here. Slowly. Right hand repeats, left hand moves up. Left hand goes to G flat or F sharp right now. Right hand goes to this inverted A major chord. D major, A, back to D. Okay. Also here at the introduction, once you get comfortable playing those basic chords, you've practiced this over and over again, your hands are comfortable with those movements, then you can start to add a little bit more melody that kind of will reflect what the recording is doing with the right hand. So here's how we started out. Okay, so you see, you kind of heard that. Okay, so step da 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 da. You can kind of play those with your pinky, with your hand, with your finger that's furthest to the right to kind of run that melody. Once you get, don't even attempt it until you get comfortable with the chords, or until you're cool with da, 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 until you can do that smoothly. Don't even bother with it. But once you're comfortable with it, then you can try and add the melody to it. And then I didn't show you that last chord with the right hand. We did that G flat suspended, and then we end on the left hand went to G flat, right hand went to G flat major, G flat, B flat, D flat, add the A flat. And we're officially now in the key of G flat for the first part of the verse. Okay? So, let's move on to the verse. Okay, so starting with the verse. This is where we ended off. Let's start with the left hand. Kind of give you that foundation again. Left hand's here on G flat. Add this D flat as a second. This is where we ended. So the left hand started here, G flat and D flat. Let's just work the left hand first. G flat and D flat. Next, leave the D flat here, and we're going to move this G flat down. This is for the next 3 or 4 chords. This D flat is going to stay put while this is the only note moving down to the left. So the first one, down to F, down to E flat, down to D flat. Okay, so left hand's going G flat, F, E flat, then D flat, G flat, B. Okay, so the only time this top note lifts up from D flat is at the very end when it's bum bum, when it goes up to B. And when you get to B, we're going to play G flat here. Okay, so slowly, that's the first one. Move this one down. Leave that D flat there. Leave that D flat. Still leave it. Now move it up to G flat with this B. Okay, let's add the right hand. Right hand's on a G flat major chord. Add this A flat. We were here. This is your first chord, G flat major, G flat, A flat, B flat, and D flat. When the left hand moves down to F, this G flat's going to follow along with the left hand and play F. And the only other thing we're going to do is lift this B flat. So that's first. That's second. When this F goes down to E flat, bring the right hand back to that first chord, that G flat chord. When the left hand goes down to E flat, D flat, excuse me, right hand is going to stretch out now to an E major chord, E major 7th, E, A flat, B, and E flat. And this is all over the D flat in the left hand. Remember, the left hand is going to come up to G flat now. This D flat still plays. This hasn't moved. And the right hand is going to move these 3 fingers that are playing to the right, 1, 2, 3. They're currently on an A flat minor chord. They're going to shift up and go over to a G flat major. G flat, B flat, D flat. These black keys right here. This E stayed put for both chords. Okay? And the left hand did. Okay? Let's go from the beginning to there. And then when the left hand goes to B,